One of his
It was especially when they were starting out in the 90s and 20s. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Football Theory with your two co-hosts, Guti and Ivan. Guti, how you doing, my man?
We're good, man. Football theory at night.
Football Theory at night. That's right. Today we're going to start off. It's been a week since Mexico has played their World Cup qualifying games. Last week we touched on Mexico, but we also touched on a lot of the other teams. So this week we're going to, now that we've had a little time to process, the emotions have gone down, and we're going to more focus on what exactly we saw from Mexico, what we did like, what we didn't like, what things were we surprised by. Guti, the biggest thing that stood out for me was the fact that Chaco Rodriguez didn't play any of the three games. You know what I mean?
I told you it was the summer. It was the summer of Chaka. I didn't say it was the fall of Chaka.
It was the summer of Chaka, and then and he even got benched for Cata Dominguez, a 33-year-old center back who has at times has played right back, but it's not his main position. He's played for number two, but so one of the biggest things Tata has been criticized for is how much Chaca Rodriguez has played. So, now that we've had a week to think about it, is Tata is he changing things, leaving players behind that we thought he wouldn't leave behind?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a moment thing. It's a moment thing, but having Salcedo out or disciplinary actions, I guess, and then having the Olympics, right? We knew Jorge Sanchez was kind of like that young guy come up and coming. They're trying to make him that right back. So, it's like, yeah, I think it was just a moment thing for Chaka. He was just there. He was one of the only options really that Tata kind of believed in. But, Gata was cool, man. I mean, Gata's a guy who's been in shape, has been playing for a long time. He's probably not the most flashiest player, but, I told you before, we just need to get points, man. So I guess you could say Tata's trying to get points right now. I'm not really too worried about who's on the field at this moment, to be honest.
Yeah, so I guess for me, it's like, is this going to be a pattern? Is this a sign of things to come? You know what I mean? Like, is Chaka going to be fizzled out a little bit? You know what I mean? Is he going to be kind of fizzled out? Because you look at the other players who didn't play. Santiago Jimenez, young guy, and strictly field players. We'll get to the goalkeepers in a little bit, but strictly field players. I don't think David Ramirez played. Sepulveda didn't play. I don't think Osvaldo Rodriguez didn't play, but all these other guys are all younger guys, or middle younger age guys, and Chaka is 30. This is his prime. This is supposed to be, if there's a time for him to start and for him to play meaningful World Cup games, it's right now. And the fact that I think he got benched right when the games matter more than any time else, since Tata took over, I think that's a huge indication for me. You know what I mean? Because everybody for the last 2.5 years have been talking about, Chaka's bad. Chaka's not good for the selección. He had a lot of people, I think I did as well, maybe you did as well, blamed the Nations League final loss on him with some of the mistakes he's made.
Yeah, mistake. Yeah.
So I think, I think it's kind of telling that the fact he didn't play any of the three games. When we talked about there's going to need to be rotation, there was going to need to be players coming in and out, depending on the matchup, just because there's so many games and so many little days. And you would think he would have gotten a run, but he got zero run of it. So I think that's kind of what wild to me.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, he's got to probably ask himself why he's not playing, because like you say, he did everything right, at least as much as he could, to his capacity. He did make mistakes, but he was there when you needed him, and he played the entire time. I think the media and a lot of people want to see Jorge Sanchez be that player. I'm not 100% sold yet on that. I do think he's obviously younger, more athletic. He gives you way more going up front. And you saw that in the three games, Jorge Sanchez was actually killing it up there. He would like extend plays that were probably dead for Chaka. Chaka won't get to the last line. But I also think Salcedo is a better player than both of them. But his attitude and the way he loses his mind, it could keep Salcedo out of the lineup. So we'll see. It's between those three. I really don't see anyone else kind of popping in unless you see one of these younger backs. You know how usually like these young center backs usually get pushed to the right because they're, a little more quicker than the other guys. So we'll see if some of these young center backs can kind of slide over and play that position later.
So, what did you think about Jorge Sanchez in the 2 games of the 3 he played? Because he stuck Cata Dominguez for the middle game against Costa Rica. So, which seemed it was more like a strategical thing where they must have seen something where they wanted Jesus Gallardo to be the one pushing up forward, and they wanted Dominguez to stay back, and because they never really went to a back 3 against Costa Rica, which I thought they were going to do, with considering that Dominguez was there and is more of a center back than he is a right back, but he played more traditionally as a right back that whole game. So, taking that away, did Jorge Sanchez do enough in the 2 games he played for him to still be that starter in these games moving forward, starting again in a couple weeks?
Yeah, I think so. I think because he's also going to be playing with América a lot, and they're doing good. And so as long as América's doing good and he's, they're in first place and he's playing and he's doing his thing, and going forward, he gives you more than other guys we're talking about. I think he's going to find his way in there. I think it's almost Jorge Sanchez's position to lose, even though Chaka was there the whole summer. But like I said, the Olympics were keeping guys out of this main team. So I think Sanchez is the best option probably right now at the right. He just gets up the field, man. He gets up the field better. Defensively, he's made mistakes. We saw him do it against Jamaica. I mean, who does that? Who has the ball down to the ground, placing it for the forward to just shoot it one touch, So he's got to clean that up. But I think I'd rather see him in the back than Chaka in Qatar in a year. So,
yeah, I mean, I think the way things are going, I think so, because at a young age, these mistakes they can still be taught out of you, or you can learn from them. I think Chaka still makes mistakes that at his age and where he should be at, he shouldn't be making. Where I think Jorge Sanchez is still young enough that he can kind of do that. You know what I mean? Talking about the center. So now we move to the center backs for me. Because you mentioned Salcedo has played. He's almost like a utility man in the back, right? He can play center back. He can play left, right, center back. He can play right back too. You saw in the last World Cup where he pretty much played besides left back every position on that back 4 for Mexico in the last World Cup. And I believe in Germany he was the right back. Against Sweden he was the center left back, and he was everywhere. When you look the way Ernesto Araujo's played, Montes has played. Moreno kind of might still be getting called up in the future. You have Vasquez, who is recovering from injury. I mean, if it's not right back for Salcedo, and there's no in his attitude, and let's say his attitude increases it or it gets better and improves, is there a spot for him in the center back, or is it kind of going to be these guys and maybe another young guy popping in somewhere?
Man, is there a spot for him in center back? Well, I mean, center back has never been his thing to me. I think just the way he plays, he's too risky, which is like kind of. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but honestly, he reminds me of myself just playing center back. Like I was not a natural center back, but I remember playing it through high school, and it was kind of like I'm just gonna go get the ball. If I don't get it, I don't get it. It's gonna be a foul. It's gonna be a foul. I'm gonna clear. I'm gonna play out the back nicely, whatever. And I just watch him play. It's exactly the same. How I would just go wild, right? So to me, I feel like. Skill wise, he probably is a better center back than some of these guys, but in the game, dude, he loses his mind. He doesn't have the composure to do it. I mean, like he's quick enough. He's probably quicker than Nestor Araujo. He probably keep up with Montes and the rest of the guys. I just feel like he doesn't have that composure to kind of like slow the ball down when he needs to. He'll like dribble out of the back and lose it. He'll commit some stupid red card foul or PK like he did against US. So I don't know. I think you put him there in the depth chart. I don't think he's going to start as a center back. I think his best shot is to try to calm his mind down a little bit, and maybe compete for that right back spot. Because I don't see why I don't think. No, actually, I know Jorge Sanchez is not better than him, and I know Chaka is not better than him either. So, I mean, maybe he could somehow chill out a little bit in the year. We'll see.
I mean, okay, so.
But center back, no, I don't see him as center
back. And so you talk about him that using disciplinary actions with Salcedo. Another one that looks like he did it with Ortega, who's over in Belgium. I think it'll be telling this next call up if Ortega comes in as a left back, because Gallardo was the only one who played left back the whole game, the whole 3 games for Mexico. I think there's more of an opportunity for Ortega because he's young, young guys make mistakes. If he didn't do something that Tata liked, I don't think he's at the age where he can, again, kind of like Jorge Sanchez on the field, off the field, he can learn from it. I don't think what he did was egregious to that extent to not get called up again. What did you see from Gallardo? Because he's another guy who gets a lot of flack about his play at the left back. Is he like the starter? Is he starting for you? Is he starting for Tata? One, is he starting for you? Two, is he starting for Tata moving forward? Or is there a chance for Ortega? Is there a chance for another guy coming in for possibly moving in forward? When
I mean, he's called Osvaldo Rodriguez, but that's just a call up to just fill the spot.
Eric,
I don't think
Eric. I think Eric Aguilar is another player I think about who could
Eric Aguirre, yeah, he's a baller. Yeah, he's a baller.
Yeah, I think he's someone who could come in and definitely do well in that position, and he gives you a little different options as well as a midfielder too. But what do you think about Gallardo? I guess so now,
I like Gallardo. I think that's it's one of Osorio's guys that he kind of put in that spot and kind of molded him to that. I like his size, his speed. He goes up, he'll get you a couple crosses. He always seems to find his way down the line. I mean, I know it's a crazy thing to say, but and I know it's like because I have a Chivas, shirt on, but I don't. Like Mayorga from Chivas, like that's a good center. That's a good left back. I'm sorry, not center. That's a good left back right there. A guy like that. There's a couple guys in the league that could do it. They're young. I don't think they'll get a chance within a year, but a year is a long time to say, right? Ivan, like a year is a long time from right now. But I think if you had to start today, I think you go Gallardo in the back. And then, man, it's pretty. It doesn't look like it used to be. We had 2 or 3 options back there. I think you got to just hope Gallardo's on it, doing his thing in Monterrey, and somehow finds his way to connect with Funes Mori. And these next couple of weeks are going to be important before they start this next call up. See if they can find a way to connect again.
Yeah, it seems like he gets himself in these really good positions. He gets himself.
Yeah, then he crosses it to nobody.
Yeah, he gets himself like 7, 8, 80%, like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10% there, like out of that to get there, and just that like final product just isn't there, and the mistake isn't there. The last touch too long. The cross is just
It's always like he's faster than himself, right? Like he's too fast. Like he's like a fast. Like whoa, he got away, and then he doesn't know what to do with it. Like he looks like he has better control than he actually does. I don't think his control is that good, like it looks like on TV. But he runs and he's like, oh, and then it's like, dude, what are you doing? And on the comment about Arteaga, I think the issue with him is going to be how much is Tata going to weigh like these decisions when guys turn down a call up, because it was rumored that he wasn't going to go to both of these Olympics and Gold Cup, and obviously it was confirmed that he just chose not to go. I don't know how much Tata weighs on that. I mean, that's a little bit different than what Salcedo did. Salcedo's been there. He goes, he trains. Yeah, in the game, he lost his mind. He wanted to make up for it by shooting a PK. He missed it. I mean, it's just one of those days. It wasn't his day. But if he makes that PK, then no one says anything, But then obviously he was arguing with the assistant coach on the sideline. So we'll see how much he weighs like the disciplinary actions off the field compared to like on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think part of it is if what Salcedo does on the field, if that disrupts everybody else in camp, that's where the problem is, right? If everybody else is now fed up with him, if everybody else is now annoyed with him, that's where the problem kind of grows, where one bad apple is now rotting the rest of them. For Ortega, who may, he maybe punishes them, talks to them, and in the future, right? Because who does know? Because he's playing well for Belgium. He's putting in the work. He's putting himself in these good positions, playing week in, week out. How much do you give him leeway? Because he is also a little younger, and it's not something that doesn't seem that it's disrupted the team, because he was there earlier in the summer for the Nations League squad too. Quickly, let's touch on goalkeepers, because we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and it just more, I think, accentuates the freaking frustration we had, where if Guillermo Ochoa is the one, your goalkeeper, and he's playing all 3, why do you have 3 other goalkeepers from the ages of 35 to 38 there? Like, why? Why are you not bringing a younger player if Ochoa is the one who's definitely playing in all these games? He's not doing what Osorio did, where if Osorio felt that one of the strengths of a team was centers and crosses and all these things, he would play Talavera because he's a little better out of the air and all these different things. Tata's not doing that. He's going with his back line. His back line was the same except for the right back in all 3 games. Goalkeeper was the same in all 3 games. So I don't have a problem with Ochoa starting. My problem is why are the three other backups and the people there are all older vets?
Yeah, beats me because if you go back to any of the three, I guess we could say the only one that wasn't like that was when Aguirre had the team, because he likes veterans. But other than that, like you always see two keepers that are around the same age fighting for a spot, and the third one that's like clawing his way through. Um, I mean, I guess we could also say Pio Herrera did the same thing. Like, and you're right. I mean, this also says, that this is a great generation of goalkeepers. Yes, they are, right? We're talking about household names that you and I have heard for the last 10 years or longer, 15 years in the league. But where's the new group coming, right? And like, why not have a young guy training? You cannot tell me that David Ochoa is your next option. Like, that would be highly disrespectful to anybody that's playing the LigaMx. Like, the goalkeepers are actually playing the young guys. And we see, David Ochoa being part of different bloopers here and there. I don't think he's the guy. We talked about it when we made the switch. So it's like, why not call a couple of these young guys in there, even like a Jurado or someone else? I mean, I know he's not playing, but somebody to kind of just get their experience and be part of the group. I mean, I guess Tata's just going with the safe and just like, well, I guess Ochoa's there and the other guys are just going to push him to be better. But just tell Ochoa, look, you're the keeper, man. You're the main guy, and the rest of the guys are going to come and be backups. Like, I mean, I remember La Volpe doing it with Osvaldo. He said straight up, like, Osvaldo's the goalkeeper, and the other two guys are going to just try to be there. Corona was there, and then obviously he took Ochoa last minute. So it's like, yeah, you're here, but Osvaldo's the goalie. So I mean, I don't see what's wrong with that. Why can't they just do that?
I don't know, man. And
it's call one young cat to just be there, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's baffling. So I mean, I think before we get more frustrated, we'll just move on.
I mean, hold on before we go. Are you frustrated because you want to see like that new wave of goalkeepers who's coming in? Are you you want to wait like because US is doing it, right? US is having a bunch of young guys kind of play goalkeeper by committee. Is that what you want? Are you like scared that like next time around we're not going to have goalkeepers that are experienced? Is that why you want to move on or what?
I think it's important to have somebody there, even if they're not playing, training, because you can learn stuff from what you're not with these guys during the seasons, you know what I mean? Because you guys are all on different teams. You can learn so much from an experienced goalkeeper. How much would it help one of these young guys, whoever it is, from the number of young goalkeepers we have, to just be there with Ochoa, a man who's been at 4 World Cups, a man who's who's played in Europe, who's played for Club América, who's won a couple of player of the games for his performances in goal at World Cups, just being there and watching and observing and seeing what he does when you're not on the field. I think that's huge. I think those kind of things are really undervalued or something that's not mentioned enough when it comes to, just being a younger guy and a younger guy learning from experience. Even if you're not playing, just the habits that you see great players do is important to see, because you don't see them when you're not with them. You're not going to see them in the game, because a lot of what makes them great is what they do when they're not on the field. And the field is almost like an expression and ability to show your greatness and everything you've done to prepare for that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
So I think
I agree. We want to see that. We also want to see, because like you know how big it is for these guys to get a call up, right? So like how big it would be for, I mean, he's not in his moment, but like Pepe Hernandez from Atlas or Gudiño, any of these guys, they're not in their moment right now, but get a call up, go there, train. They don't have to play at all, but they just come back and they've been part of the system. And I think that probably has a lot to do with the national team and their continuity, like what they want to do after Tata. And I feel like Tata doesn't really care what happens after him. It's like, I'm just going to do what I need to do here. And so if I just ruin a whole generation of people coming up, that's not on me. I'm out anyways. So it's like, that's what I'm telling you with the problem of having him as the coach and not having like kind of your own group of coaches that you're grooming, that you go like, hey, we're going to keep it going. The way like Uruguay has been doing it for 12 years or 16 years, the way Germany's been doing it, right? Where it's like, this is our coach. If we don't have him, it'll be another guy that's just similar like him, and Spain is doing it. So it's kind of like, why Mexico, we're just calling these big names. Osorio comes in, does something, nothing happens with it. The other guy comes in, does something, nothing happens with it. And we just keep starting over, right? Every time.
Yeah, I think that does, especially like almost like mercenary kind of style at this point in his career. And he's never stayed too long at any place either. And so, and here it's definitely,
He's just trying to finish. He's just going to finish
Yeah.
his contract.
Yeah, he's going to finish his contract. And
That's
the thing
it.
is, it's so interesting because with Osorio, it seemed like he was putting everything in place for the next group and to follow up, and he chose not to renew the contract that was offered to him. But he looked like he was kind of putting things in place for the next generation of all these things. But
why would he not take that? I mean, the money's ridiculous.
yeah, I mean, he was probably got fed up with the way the federation was running. I think.
I think he wanted to use it as a jump pad. I really honestly think it wasn't like, I mean, yeah, he probably was fed up with the media and the federation, but I think it's also like, okay, I'm here and this gets me that world stage, that little like, everyone could see me. And I really think he wanted that Colombia job. I really think he wanted to go to Colombia, or he wanted something like to the next step and didn't get it, So yeah.
Well, I think it's really interesting because leading up to the World Cup, a lot of the pieces about Mexico and about Osorio were all positive from outside of Mexico. I mean, the stories about him being in England and Liverpool.
Yeah.
The stories about him in the United States and all these different. So outside of Mexico, a lot of the stories about him were really positive leading up to it. He gets to win in Germany, and now so it's even more positive about it. And then everything he was getting criticized for, questioned about it from outside of Mexico, it was almost like, oh, see, this is what happens when it all works. I mean, so
I really thought, I mean, we're gonna end up with Osorio, but I really thought the U.S. national team should have went for him. I really thought that would be a good pickup for them. That was just me, but all right. Anyway,
I'm with you too. I mean, so to kind of wrap up the segment, when you look at the guys from the midfield or forward spot who were here, and you look at the guys who were missing. When you look at Hector Herrera, when you look at Lainez, when you look at Lozano, Raúl Jiménez, what guys are you picking out from the roster that just went? What guys do you think struggled to not earn the call up? Who do you think? Yeah. Who do you think that would bring out? You know what I mean? Like, is he gonna start doing with Pizarro what he did with Xhaka? Like, okay, he got called up this time, but we had some guys missing. Is he above?
I don't think anyone wants to see Pizarro anymore. I think there's a couple guys that have to kind of earn it more in their club team. I think that's one that it doesn't need to be seen anymore. Obviously, there's a lot of guys missing. You just named them, players that weren't there. Like Lainez was big, Chucky was big, and Jimenez. Those are three big players that are probably starters, or at least 2 out of 3 are starters. I think he's gonna try to like die by the sword and just stick with Funes Mori because he made a big deal about bringing him in, and he's gonna have to just like stick with it. And people are trying to compare him like to Guille Franco, which I don't agree with that yet, because when La Volpe called Guille Franco the first time, when he called him, he was probably one of the best options for sure. I don't think there was a better option than him at that moment. And then when Aguirre took him, I thought that was like too much. Like, he's like, bro, come on, Guille Franco was 4 years ago. So I don't want to compare Funes Mori to him yet. Only if the next coach decides to keep Funes Mori in the circle, then we're like, dude, that's too much. Funes Mori, it has to be for right now, and that's it. Only because we had all these injuries, and if he wants to get a World Cup run in there, maybe. But after the World Cup, like, there's really going to be, I don't think there's going to be room for him anymore. I think we shouldn't have room for him anymore. Unless he just catches fire, which I doubt it. So we'll see what happens with Funes Mori. I think he's going to get called again. Not like he's deserved it, but he's going to get called because, Tata's not going to try to change too many things. I thought it was kind of jacked up to not give Santi Jimenez a shot at playing like 10 minutes or something. Like, dude, what was it? Especially that last game. It's like, why not put this young cat in there? It's a 1-1 tie. You've already got 7 points. And you put Pizarro, who doesn't need those 10 minutes. He doesn't need that. And he's not going to do anything with it either. It's like, so, no, that was a bad sub right there. It's like, put Santi Jimenez in there, let him feel the field and let him feel it out and see what see what happens to him. And I really want to see what he does between here and the FIFA date. I want to see what Santi Munoz, if he ever even start training. I know it's going to be a long time for him to get called, but I want to see him kind of get active. Jota Macias, if he ever starts, living up to any of this in the next couple of weeks or something, or probably like in the next couple of months, because he's probably not gonna be ready for the next call up either. So we'll see, man. The only one that's kind of on the radar will be Santi Jimenez to come back if he could somewhat get some activity with Cruz Azul.
Yeah, and he started off the season really well, so I think he definitely earned that call up when the opportunity came.
What about Sendejas? Sorry, what about Sendejas from Necaxa, the ex-Chivas player?
Yeah,
4 goals. He was top. He was, I think, number 4 in goals at one moment. So, I mean, see what he does with Necaxa in the next couple of weeks too.
Yeah, absolutely. And where are we at? We're the 15th, so we're probably about like 2 weeks away or so from a call up. So we'll see what these guys got for 2 more weeks, more or less, to show. I think what's so funny about Pizarro was the fact that when Osorio didn't take Pizarro, that was one of the players that everybody said he should have made it or should have been on the list. You know what I mean? If I recall right, everyone's like,
Yeah, that was
guy
4 years
on?
ago, dude.
That was
4 years ago.
and it's crazy how time changes so quickly. He's 27 now. He's not even like he's a has been, or he should be in the peak of where he's at. But
it's just that MLS move, man. He did an MLS move that did no good for him. Like the way it did no good for Marco Fabian, the way it did no good for a couple other guys, like probably Alan Pulido too. But like they just go out there, they think they're gonna just rock the roll, and like if they don't put the work in or they're not in the right moment, no, man.
Yeah,
Pizarro should have done something else with it.
I get you. Another player that I think will be interesting to see if he goes or not, considering all the people that didn't go last time, is Roberto Alvarado, especially when you consider the huge miss he had in the Jamaica game. That right after that miss, put Mexico in a pickle because Jamaica's tied it right back up, and then he came in the Costa Rica or the Panama game, I believe, and didn't light it up either. I think that's one of the guys I look at on the roster, because there's going to be there's some you look at that's the kind of guy. That's one of the guys on the roster I look at. You're like, okay, well, he might not be not getting our chance.
He's expendable. I mean, you don't need Piojo Alvarado. I'm sorry. I think he's going to be on the outside of the bubble, looking in, going to Qatar. Anyways, I don't think he's that. He's not there for me. I don't know.
He's almost like a Jurgen Damm kind of a guy, where he's
might
be there because he didn't even play. He didn't even start in the Olympics either.
No, like I said, I think he's like that guy that's good enough to be in that group. I just don't think when you get down to making 23 with like Sebastian Cordoba, with freaking Antuna, Antuna's going to the World Cup if he doesn't get injured. Just because I don't know. I know he's kind of Chivas doesn't do anything, but in the selección he runs, he puts in the effort, he shows more than Alvarado. And Tata really likes him. He's been having him for the whole time. So I think someone like him will probably get a shot over El Piojo Alvarado. We'll see. I don't think he's going to be in the 23 for sure.
I mean, yeah, I think after this last week of reflection and like looking back and stuff, I think, Tata is kind of slowly making changes. I think changes that we didn't expect him to make. I think.
He's going to try to integrate him back in. I mean, these guys that were in the Olympics, he didn't want to do it in one flash shot and go to these 3 games with the new group, right? He needed to get some solid in those tight games that we know Mexico didn't play well at all. They were able to get these wins because the team knew each other enough, and that's all they needed to do.
Yeah. And so I think moving forward, just to keep an eye on those things, the Chaka thing, Pizarro, these players that we've questioned on why they're there. Is he listening to us? Is he going to start? Is he going to not listen to us? But is he going to start phasing them out? Will be really cool to keep an eye on, because he did do some things that people have been asking for once after the summer, and he's doing it now. I think that should be recognized and noticed as we move forward.
Tata, are you listening? Tata, are you listening?
Yeah, give me a compliment. Yeah. Moving from international soccer to Mexico to domestic, LigaMx almost 3/4 or halfway through the league. Down there, everyone's played about 8 games. Concacaf Champions League this week, kicking off with América being being in the finals, winning, beating Philadelphia 2-0 away, 2-0 at home. Mm-hmm. And before the recording, Monterrey and Cruz Azul will play the second leg as well, which makes 16. Is it 16, Puti? Sweet 16?
It'll be 16 years in a row that a LigaMx team wins the Concacaf Champions.
16 leagues. MLS does have an opportunity to win the Leagues Cup. They will play the winner of Santos and Pumas after they beat León, I believe, in the
they beat Santos. They beat Santos.
Oh, they beat Santos.
León, Pumas,
yeah. The green got me there, but yeah. So I mean, Club América still haven't lost in the league. They're 6 wins, 2 draws, only undefeated team, lowest goals. I mean, they're rolling along, man. I mean, where are we at with this? I mean, you're a Chivas fan, you hate it, but you see yourself out of the Chivas.
América is playing very well. They're getting the wins they need to get. Solari's, didn't change too much and just keeps going there and winning. this LigaMx is taking too long, bro. With these FIFA dates, it's not helping. Like 2 games and then break 2 games, it's not gonna work. I mean, we got to get this going faster. But yeah, I think America is doing their thing, man. Toluca was getting some wins too. I mean, they're only 3 points behind, and then Leon's there, which is cool because Leon has a new coach and they're changing it up. And like you said, they're playing some other cup, the League's Cup or whatever, and so they have a chance to go to a final there if they could beat Pumas, which they probably will. And just watching, reflecting on that, watching America. I mean, I don't see them. I don't see anyone catching them. They're probably going to end up being super leader, to be honest. I mean, they're only 3 points up, but I just feel like they're going to continue to go all the way through. They have a lot of experienced guys. Ochoa's there. I mean, this is, man, I don't want to call it, but if I had money, I'd probably bet that America wins the final this season. I really do. It just looks that different. All the teams look that like weirder. They just don't look that strong.
Yeah, it's why, I mean, it's such a basic concept, right? You bring in a coach who has coached at Real Madrid, who has experience in Europe. You bring him here to Mexico and he figures it out. Like, wow, who would have thought? You know what I mean? And hopefully this kind of gives more teams the confidence to go out and, you don't have to get a Solari, but there's coaches out there who have experience in different parts who can be a positive influence instead of you kind of going through the same round and round and round.
I mean, hey, a lot of these teams have tried it. I mean, Pumas has done it. They had Europeans coaching. Michel, Cruz Azul tried Paco Jimenez. I mean, they tried different guys from different places. I don't think it's like that easy just to step in. I just think it's maybe a perfect fit with Solari just jumping in there and doing it. And hopefully this kind of also opens the door for players that are in America to go to Europe because of Solari and people who know him, and maybe he can make a couple phone calls and get Cordova out of there and a couple other guys out of there.
Yeah, I think it's important though for him to succeed. I mean, he doesn't have to win the title, but for him to keep doing well, because that stigma of you need to know LigaMx you need to have to play LigaMx to get LigaMx.
Yeah, what is that all about? What do people say that?
Or you even have to, or they even say it with the national team, right? Like you need to have played in Mexico or like know the LigaMx.
You need to know the Mexican players. Like what? No.
Yeah. No,
why?
It's a universal game. There's concepts, and you see, I think at that level, people know talent, and it's about knowing players and how can you get the best out of the players. Shout out your Chivas are 10th. They're not bad. They just they're drawing their way into a wild card game right now, which is really
they're going to qualify. They're going to qualify. That Pumas Chivas game is probably one of the most boringest thing I've been a part of in a long time. I'm like, I realized like 50 minutes in, I turn around and go, wait a minute, the game's still on. Like it was such background noise in the house because we were just doing something else. I didn't realize the game was still on. That's how bad it was, where you heard nothing. And the Univision broadcasters did nothing to help it out. It was so bad. I mean, there was nothing to do really, but both teams just offered nothing. I was like, dude, what are we watching here? And Pumas games are usually like that anyway. So you add Pumas doing really bad to a Chivas with no idea and their best player out, Alexis Vega, who, again, how many times do we get to send players to La Selección and Alexis Vega keeps getting injured with them. And then, you're watching that, the player's not there, and then it's just boring, man. And was they just trying to get points to keep going? So it's like, hey, 1 point. I see I'm still going. It's like, bro, this is not good. This is not good to watch.
Yeah, right. And we've talked about when the season before the season started, the idea of that like wild card week, the wild card game, the 5 through 12. Is it good? Is it bad? Because it allows for mediocrity. If you come in 12th and let's say you upset the team that's in 5th and all of a sudden you're in the final, does it reward mediocrity? Does it reward being better and getting one of those top 4s and you really pushing to achieve? And with seeing a Chivas kind of keep sneaking their way in and picking up a point here, and while the teams who've been bad continue to be very bad, like Juarez and Pumas and Toluca or Tijuana, sorry. Can you just keep kind of pushing away with them without really making a real threat into the higher level? Quickly, a shout out for Atlas. They get a nice little win. They actually just had a pretty rough stretch. On paper. They played Club América, they played Santos, they played Toluca, they played Tigres, they played Monterrey. All these teams right and around the same area they are, around that 5, around 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th, and they didn't lose a game. They tied a couple, they got a couple wins, and now the schedule kind of opens up a little bit. You're gonna have 1 or 2 tough matches there, but they're I'm not gonna believe they're gonna win the title, but they're giving me more confidence than I was expecting at this point.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're making you feel okay, I mean, why not? I mean, someone has to play at Estadio Jalisco, but I mean, like, we'll see how they do in the next 4 games. I mean, obviously that's easy to say, but you got, Necaxa, who will compete with them really well. Necaxa always does well with these young guys they use. Sendeja, shout out to him. And then that Leon Atlas game, on a back-to-back weekend, right? That's gonna be rough. Atlas Leon is gonna be a tough game, and then obviously Puebla, right? So they have how many points? That 9 points within 11 days. I mean, every team's doing that, but that's gonna be a tough stretch for them if they can try to get a couple wins there, and then you end off, with the Clásico, right? October 2nd. I mean, you don't end off, but the 4th game coming down the road will be Chivas Atlas. So we'll see how they are in the next three weeks, or not even 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Yeah.
I think what gives me confidence for them is the fact that they've gone through this tough stretch, and besides América, they got the second best goals allowed. They're at 4, just 1 less, and there's Santos has 6, and besides that, there's a drop off starting after that. So I think when you are not allowing goals, and it's important. We've mentioned this before, especially in LigaMx. If you're not allowing goals, so that means you're not dropping that many points. You just kind of keep your head in there, and because Atlas offense isn't sparkling, what I mean, they don't blow teams out. They don't get these huge wins. They nick away 1-0 wins, 0-0 draws, 1-1 draws, 2-0 wins, and if you're hard to beat, that's in this league, that shows more consistency than an explosive attack. I think a very hard team to break down is harder in the playoff than it is an explosive team.
Yeah, Atlas is going to be they're number 5 right now. They could easily finish in the top 4 if they said keep up the pace, and their schedule does open up. I mean, I would say the 3 top games they're going to circle is León, Chivas, and then you have that game with Cruz Azul, right? The rest of them are they're challengeable, man. I mean, the rest of those are too, but those are like those little big games they have to circle on their schedule. But yeah, I could see Atlas getting the top, at least where they're at. They could stay there for sure, 5 or 6.
So I'm not. Yeah, and they, like you said, they have a good chance to cracking in that top 4. And when you're in that top 4, especially now that they're changing the playoff rule again, where if you're title in aggregate, the team with the highest position moves up.
Highest seeding, yeah.
That's huge.
That was the Televisa rule. That was Televisa rule because América lost last time. Yeah.
You're right.
What a coincidence! What a coincidence! They got scored off 5-5, and then he gets advanced. Yeah.
So I'm not here yet. I don't believe, but they're making me believe. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. So the confidence is starting to grow. So we'll see.
Hey man, we'll see. Speaking of Atlas, I was able to go watch Alejandro Fernandez a couple days ago. He came to SAC to sing, so I know he's a big Atlas fan.
He's in San Diego October 16th.
Okay. It was random. He was here. My buddy Noé, shout out. He hit me up. I got a ticket. Went to go watch him, so that was random. That was cool.
How was it?
It was good, man. He's getting old, man. I didn't realize he's 50 years old now. So he's getting up there.
He's getting up there. Handsome 50-year-old. Yeah, he's a handsome 50-year-old man.
Yeah, rich, handsome. His son was out there too. His son came out and sang as well.
Oh, good. Yeah. Actually, no, I take the handsome part back. No one ever rule for life, people. You're not ugly. You're just poor. The rich people aren't good looking. They're just rich. All right. Keep that in mind.
Right.
But,
but he's cool.
He's in San Diego next month, so I'm excited. But speaking about rich, good transition, Guti. That's why you're one of the best in the business.
Rich, yeah.
Okay. To watch U.S. Mexico in November, you have to be rich because U.S. has skyrocketed these tickets to absurd amounts. About the highest ticket is going over $1,000 before the second market, I believe, and then the cheapest ticket is before fees were about $150, $175, I believe.
That was crazy. I saw that. That was wild.
They're playing in Cincinnati, so you also have to make your way to Cincinnati. And I made a joke on Twitter and got the people in Cincinnati mad about that. But yeah, so not only do you have to pay all this money to go into south of Ohio, you also have to get to Cincinnati, which is pretty expensive too compared to some other metropolitans in the country. What what are your overall thoughts about this humongous price gouge from U.S. Soccer?
I have mixed feelings, but I look at one thing I'm not gonna knock them for is trying to make money because I feel like I think we want to mix that up. Oh, shout out to the Kirkland mineral sparkling water. One thing, the grapefruit is the best one. But anyways, one thing I want to shout out. One thing I want to clarify here with the soccer thing is it's a business, bro. And so when I see these, I feel bad because people on Twitter are like, well, it's not affordable, this and that. It's like, but that's not what their aim is, right? We know that's not their aim. Maybe as a youth soccer, we can complain that kids have to pay too much, but like when it's a pro soccer game, like we know how much it costs to go to any of these events, right? We get it. Is it fair? No. Is it a business? Yes, right? So like I'm not gonna knock them on that trying to make money. I will say that it's kind of funny because I mean, are they thinking this is the only opportunity they have to kind of get this game? Because we're not going to have a Mexico US in US qualifying game for 8 years, right? Because the next World Cup won't be like that, right? And so, correct, right? They're going to get a qualified spot, right? Am I correct, right? Mexico, US, and Canada will have a spot in the World Cup next time around. Is that correct, Ivan?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not going to get this kind of game ever again for a long time. 8 years from now is a long time. So, I mean, do we know that US is targeting a certain group of people to go watch this game? Yes. Have they done it forever? Yes. They put it in Columbus, Ohio. It was cold. It was a fluke. They beat Mexico one time, and they just continue to take the game there until Rafa Marquez ended that. And so I don't know. I feel like I'm not really upset with it. I think it's funny. It's a lot of money. People are going to pay it. I'm not. I know you made that comment. It's easier to fly to Mexico for $300 something, get a hotel in a 5-star hotel, get some food, get a VIP seat at Estadio Azteca, who's hosted 2 World Cups, and then, watch the game. It's probably cheaper for sure than one ticket to the U.S. Mexico game. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the flight alone, like you said, it's hard to fly there. So like myself, from the West Coast to Cincinnati, I couldn't even go direct. I had to go Sacramento, something else, then Cincinnati, right? So that's going to be a cool $500 something right there. So you already priced me out. It's cheaper to go to Mexico.
Did you know that the airport in Cincinnati isn't in Ohio? It's in North Kentucky, which is, Cincinnati borders Kentucky. But it's right. It's not even in the own state. But
I didn't even know. Okay, I'm gonna go out there.
I digress. I made jokes about them. I said it was speaking about the price. I said we still have to go to Cincinnati too, and that's the rub of it. And people from Cincinnati got mad at me. I mean, whatever.
I would say this. I didn't even know any of this, but my buddy of mine at work, shout out to him, Ross. Who's from Cincinnati area. He told me he was born in Kentucky. When he told me that, I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I didn't even know, like on the map, what kind of states in the middle are actually touching. I didn't realize that he literally was born in a hospital in Kentucky, like you just said, but he grew up in Cincinnati because it's so close to each other. So I didn't even know all that. So I'm gonna just say that. So
see, jokes aside, I think U.S. Soccer is at the end of the day a nonprofit. So when they price gouge like that, it looks so bad. You know what I mean? Because
it's a business. It's a nonprofit, but it's a business.
But their whole mission, they say is growing the sport, this and that. You know what I mean? It's not. It's at the end of the day, they know what they're doing. They've actually made presentations and been very proud of the fact of like, hey, we put games in smaller stadiums and we charge more and we make more money, and that's a good plan for us to continue to make revenue, to quote unquote put back into the system and keep it growing. But yeah, I mean, it's just too much.
I always said for the last 8 years, I was like, before they did this, I always said that US should just take the fact and that who cares if they're outnumbered in the stands, and just put the game in LA or Dallas and just make the money, because this is the only game out of the qualifiers that they were going to make crazy money, right? They weren't going to make that in the Panama game. They weren't going to make that for anything else, right? So to me, it was like, why not do that and just kind of like whatever. But I guess they really wanted those 3 points, They really wanted those 3 points,
Hey man, the tickets for Jamaica are not cheap either. I've seen people have been upset. USA fans have been upset about the prices of the qualifying game so far. They're not happy with the Canada prices. They're not happy with the Jamaica prices. The Mexico game is just to an even larger extent to the oomph of it. So, I mean, but yeah,
you're just trying to capitalize. I think they know that Mexicans will fly in to support the game, so they're just like, if we put the tickets at whatever, Caramelo's still gonna Caramelo's still gonna be there with his flag, and people are still gonna be at the game. So I just feel like, yeah, it's crazy how they did that. I think before it wasn't as easy to get to those games in Columbus, but I guess they're like, whatever, let's just make this money. The fans are still probably going to be like, what, 70-30 US, maybe, probably. So they'll probably take that. But like you said, with that Canada rivalry kind of being relevant, with Canada actually being competitive, that was a good turnout, right, in Nashville. So they're able to move that around. Speaking of that real quick, like where would US play and have like their national stadium? Like where would they just choose to play their games? Because like, we know every other country has their stadium they kind of choose. What would US do? What do you think US would do? Like, this is our stadium right here.
I'll give you a couple that would be a good idea if they wanted to. I think one has to be Washington D.C. because it's the capital. You can make Washington D.C.
Yeah, but the stadium's not. Yeah, okay.
I mean, they got their own. They got their
Audi.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
yeah, they got that. So I think I would put that. I would put that second with an asterisk, because I think there's a couple other ones that if they made some changes would bump them up to 1 or 2 or wherever. But so right now it's 2 with an asterisk, but probably 4. I think Kansas City is another example. It's in the middle of the country. Kansas City is a decently big city itself. I think it's pretty easy to get to for the most part. Everywhere there. They have great support. The soccer team there in general, decently new stadium too. So I think that's a good spot to kind of put it in, because I don't think the headquarters are in Chicago, so I don't think it's too far for them. I think Chicago would make sense too, if
Soldier Field,
or I think that would make sense too, if center of the country, a huge city. Very easy to get to. I think the Fire struggle to get support, but I think that's more of a Fire problem. So I think Chicago would be number 5 for me. I'll put Kansas City number 1. Portland and Seattle would be 2 and 3, and they might be 1 and 2 if either of them had grass fields, but neither of them have grass fields. But if either of them had grass fields, they would have the best U.S. specific support week in and week or qualifier in, game in and game out, if with the stadium and the way people
and the soccer in that area. Yeah.
And there's
funny because they're better stadiums. They're better stadiums, and they're bigger and better. I mean, there are newer ones, but you got the LAs, the Phoenixes, and the Texas, those big stadiums, and like they just avoid playing there because they know what kind of fans are going to show up there for sure.
The only rub against Seattle and Portland from a locational standpoint is the fact that people would still have to go across the whole country. Players from Europe still would have to go. It's much easier to go to New York, to the Midwest, wherever, than it is all the way to the other side of the country. We're everywhere in the, whole East Coast. It's, what I mean? So I think location-wise, both of those places are a problem, and the fact that the fields aren't grass is another problem.
I like how they really do move it around, knowing that they're based off the away crowd. Like, let's move it here because of who's coming. Like, it's not because let's move it here because the field's better or the, whatever, the locker rooms are better. No, let's move it here because this is harder for this crowd to show up. That's what it is.
I think that would be my top 5.
Okay.
I think. And if Portland ever got a grass field, they could easily host a US Mexico game, because there's no people of color in Portland. It's the whitest metropolitan in the country.
I know, but like,
I mean,
I get that part, but I always felt like, who cares about, like, to me, it's go make that money, right? Why do you care so much about like what your players are doing based on who's yelling at them? Like, just go make that money and fill this place up. Like, go get 100,000, go 80,000 people, man.
Yeah, Mexico gets booed by their own stick all the time. The federation doesn't care. The Mexican national team gets booed all the time.
No, I know they don't care. I'm one of them that boos at halftime. But you look at it, you're like, I don't know. I just felt like, as a business, like, if you're really gonna play this game there, like, really? So we'll see. We'll see how Cincinnati does. I know that stadium looks nice. I do expect it to be full. I do expect a Mexican crowd to show up. Hey man, right now the prices are crazy. If Bad Bunny can charge it, I guess Cincinnati can charge it.
Yeah, man. No. Yeah, I'll save it to go to Mexico in March. You know what I mean? Like if because tickets from where I live are dirt cheap to Mexico City.
We just go across and fly from Tijuana. You're paying like $80.
That's right, baby.
So yeah,
Then
I'm
I'll
with
get
you. I've
myself
done
a
it
nice
before. I've done it before. It was a great crowd. I've always wanted to go to Columbus. Like that's something I circled the last 8 years to do. I won't be doing it this time either, but I did say like this is the one game I do want to go to just because I want Mexico to go to a game that they're outnumbered in as far as fan wise. And the
Yeah.
only one I got to experience that was when I went to Canada. Fan wise, Canada was deep, and Mexico still won, but it was fun to kind of be part of that kind of atmosphere and not just be all of us yelling at that one team. It was
Yeah.
kind of fun.
I
Yeah.
feel you. Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool to go one of these places that I wouldn't normally go to. I don't have a reason to go to Cincinnati or Columbus or St. Louis most of the time anyways, or Kansas City. So to go have a reason to go there would be great because, it's nice to see other parts of the country and learn and stuff too. So on that note, Guti, do you have any 50-50s?
Oh, no. Do I have any 50-50s? Gonna say, well, you took mine with that little money, how much they were gonna charge. How about this one, man? Concacaf, their Twitter account. I know it's just social media, but they were very proactive when US was winning in the summer, and they kept posting like back to back, or US wins back to back, or you just kept using that Concacaf Twitter handle for that. But they didn't use it today when it was confirmed that 16 years in a row, a MLS team would not be winning the Coca Champions. How do you feel about that? Is there some kind of bias being run through Concacaf?
Oh, probably, yeah. So yeah, check it. Red card. I mean, yeah, it's probably. I'm assuming because where are the headquarters? Headquarters are in Miami, right?
They were,
Concacaf
yeah.
headquarters
So.
are in Miami.
That's where they meet. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think they meet there.
it's a freak. It's somebody from their media team he's probably American. He or she or they're probably American. So they probably lean more towards talking about the U.S. when they win. So yeah, I'm gonna guess it. I'm not gonna say it's an intern because I know there are people that work the social team and that's their full-time job. So I know that, but I'm gonna say that they probably are American and living and are more fans of the U.S. national team or U.S. success. So they're gonna probably do that more. I think so. I think that's
okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a little bit of bias there. I'm seeing it. I'm starting to see a little bit of that. I'm starting to also see like a little less, they don't give that much attention to like someone like um Alfonso Davies or players that are like in other countries that are killing it in Europe. And kind of the focus is based on these certain players. It's like, dude, there's guys that are doing it from other countries. So yeah, I just wanted to see what you thought about the bias from Coca.
Yeah. I think it's
normal.
It's a dude whose job. Yeah. Normal.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Okay, my 50-50 here for you. Are you are you a Champions League guy? Do you like the Champions League, or do you kind of wait till it gets like start off this weekend? Do you like Champions League right off the bat, or do you kind of just wait till it plays out to like around the knockout stage?
Okay, so I can't, and people always ask me this. They feel like I hate Europe soccer. I don't, because obviously, if I like soccer, I cannot hate European soccer. I do watch it. I can't catch mostly any games because when the games are, I'm working. So I don't really get too invested in that kind of stuff. So I guess I would say I probably do end up watching the later rounds more. So yeah, I would say that, obviously you see some results here and there. It is Champions League soccer is the best to watch in later rounds anyway. So yeah, I would say no. I would say like I kind of said to the VAR. If I have time, I watch it. Usually I do not have time to watch it. It's not that I don't like it. I'm not emotionally invested in any team really in Europe. I do like Barcelona, but I'm not gonna get upset or even get mad when they lose. It's more of like I like seeing them play. Well, not right now, not currently, but stuff like that. So yeah, I would say it's kind of just up in the air, man. 50, I'm just throw it up, drop ball, whatever.
Yeah, I feel you because 6 games it gives enough time for the quality to kind of rise to the top for the most part, and so you kind of do get the same kind of teams for them year in year out making it out, and then from there you get the knockout stages and it gets a little more random, but makes it better for you. But yeah, it's good. That's as I get older, this kind of things I realize more like Yeah, this kind of plays out by itself for the most part, and the later rounds get more intense by the matchups, by the quality. But earlier rounds, you realize, like if Man City lose or Man United loses one game, they're probably still going to make it out of the group. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
shout out to Young Boys, yeah. Young Boys.
Yeah, shout out to Young Boys with that. And to shout out to all my young boys and young girls. I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Kuti, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Do you have any last parts?
No, we're almost at 300 downloads. We got more stuff coming. We're busy guys, but we're going to be able to develop this show as much as we can if you guys keep listening to it and checking it out on YouTube as well. Big shout out to Trophies Lopez, who had a hat trick today. Forgot to shout him out. So Tata, make your way to San Jose, man. Let's make some moves.
Yeah, and happy Hispanic Heritage Month kicks off.
Yeah, we got Mexico. Yeah, I got it right here.
Yeah.
Today is by the time this is out, Mexican Independence Day. Yes,
got my Mexican baseball hat on. So yeah, give a shout out to happy Mexican Independence Day, which is the 16th. And I know there's a group of 5 of Central American countries have their independence on the 15th.
Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras,
El
Salvador, and Guatemala.
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll do that. Yeah, with that, and so everybody have a happy Hispanic Heritage Month, which spans over 2 months. So,
which is very, very Concacaf. Yes.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Guti.
We're out. Thank you.
See you.
It's kind of like,